So just a couple of days ago, we talked about how Hasbro, E1 Entertainment, and Paramount might be changing their relationship and everything that's going on with the live action movies and the success of that going into the end of 2022. But that seems to not be the only big bread and butter of the Transformer and Hasbro world that might be having a change of strategy. Same thing is going to be happening with toys. Now, keep in mind, I want to just cover this first. This is handling brands related to media marketing. And what I mean by that is our more fan-oriented and collector-oriented lines like Studio Series, like what the Generations bubble, we'll call it Legacy today, but tomorrow might be something else. Last year it was Kingdom, Buzzworthy Bumblebee. Those ones we don't have to worry about as much. But this does have a lot to do with a lot of the media related stuff. So a Bumblebee movie toy line, a BotBots toy line, a toy line related to Earthspark and stuff like that. This is mainly going to be how the focus and strategy is going to be changing for toy lines related to that. Now, this information comes courtesy of Kids Screen Magazine, a Canadian-based online magazine, and Hasbro sat down with them and talked about how things are going to be changing. Now, first they brought up about how recently, due to the chaotic supply chain issues that have been happening, and just pretty much how product getting to stores had a huge impact in 2020 and 2021, that a lot of their planning got messed up in relation to what's going to be happening with material. I constantly was saying, look at BotBots is probably a good example. We had a BotBots Netflix series that was out there, episodes, everything. But if you went to the toy aisle, unless you went to a store that was sitting on inventory for a year, which I would hope that you don't have those kind of stores, there was no BotBots product available in retail when the show was out, which is terrible when you think about it. And they brought that up too. They said how streaming content is now rolling out in 6-packs rather than full seasons. And because they roll out in 6-packs, referring to now when a show comes out, it comes out all in one shot. Instead of hey, BotBots comes out, there's 26 episodes, and you'll get one episode every week over the next 26 weeks, which is usually the best because when you have that kind of content, even if you're late to have product out in time, it gives people time in order to engage with the brand, and maybe by week 14, your product will hit retail and the show is still on the air and it's only halfway through the season. The problem when you have, again, what they refer to as the 6-pack treatment is it all comes out week 1, everyone gobbles it up and burns through it and binges through it, and then they don't care anymore for the next 26 weeks. They've already moved on to something else. And that's just the new kind of world that a lot of, material and fiction is distributed now, and it makes the toy world very difficult in keeping up with that. Japan was always the best with that. They would literally plan out Transformer figures being released when that character debuted that week on the show. If back in the Superlink Energon days in Japan, if Rodimus made his debut on episode 7, they made sure that same weekend his toy debuted to get the hype. And there was this huge planning. Today, forget about it. Today, something like that would never happen. Now, all 52 episodes of Energon/Superlink would have been dropped in one shot, and then all the toys would have to scramble over the next year to just try to get eyeballs, but by then people move on. So that's another big thing that they brought up, is just how, number one, the supply chain thing hurt them already with the current product that they have out there, but then it also affected stuff that had TV shows that all got shot in one shot. Think about it this way. We got the Kingdom series, we got the Earthrise series, we got the Siege series. They were just dropped in our lap. You could have watched it all in a morning. That's what I always did. It would debut that day. I'd watch it early in the morning and it was out of my system. Where if they would have spread it out, 6 episodes, 6 weeks, you buy yourself right there a month and a half. And especially if it's not just 6 episodes, but we're talking in this case, if you counted all 3 together as one full series, you got yourself at least a good couple of months of content for everything to be rolled out, but everything came out quickly, and it is what it is. They also mentioned how, because of this problem, They're thinking in the future what they're going to be doing is spacing out products of releases. And what they're going to do then is, instead of like doing full releases, multiple waves and everything like that, they might do small little releases of small waves instead of entire ranges. And this is something I thought that they were going to be returning to at some point, because if you look back, and I mean, it got crazy, as someone like who's experienced it like in person, when you look back at 1995, 1996, which is when Beast Wars came out, there was no joke. During the height of Beast Wars, there was maybe at most 30 figures a year. A year. Today, forget about it. We get like 80 to 90 to 100 figures a year now. But back then, during the Beast Wars era, between 25 and 30 figures a year. Even at its peak, when Beast Wars was at its peak popularity, maybe 25 to 30 figures a year. And they had Machine Wars on the side. That was the closest thing. So I think they're really reevaluating the amount of product they're going to be putting out and doing smaller waves and keeping it much more simple, because there's just too much out there. That's one way that they could do it. The thing is that, and I'm going to remind people again, this isn't going to affect Studio Series and our Generations, Legacy, whatever you want to call it, and of course Masterpiece. This is strictly for stuff like BotBots, Earthspark, whatever's going to be, the next, toyetic kind of TV show related line. Those are the ones that are going to primarily be focused on. So it won't affect us too much as adult collectors, but if you do enjoy the fiction, that's where I think it's probably going to affect you. If you really like Earthspark, and there's a whole bunch of characters in Earthspark, there might be the hesitancy to put out a lot of those characters. I mean, we kind of already saw it a little bit in the case of something like Cyberverse, where a lot of those characters on the show didn't get decent toys. Now, granted, there was a lot of reasons for that. That was, pre-Big V in a lot of ways, so it didn't really affect us. That was like 2017, 18, and 19, so it wasn't too big a deal. But the point is that there is going to be a change. There's going to be a change. The way that content is put out now, and the way that everything is done in a streaming kind of system, and stuff being dropped, I mean, it's going to be the same thing when we get Earthspark. Earthspark is going to be available on Paramount Plus. They're probably going to drop all 13 episodes of that first season or whatever right in our laps right from the get-go. And when you think about that, whatever characters are going to be introduced and debuted within those 13 episodes, we're going to have it day one. And the crazy thing is, when you think about it, if there's a cool, amazing, cool character that debuts like on episode 12, that toy won't even be available because of everything coming out right off the get-go in the winter of 2022, because that's, November is when we're going to be seeing it. So it's something that's going to be pretty crazy. And they're not prepared for this new kind of world because, again, if it would have been episode 12 that this new character comes out, that would have been week 12 if it was a weekly TV series. That would have bought them easily 3 months in order to get that toy to retail. Now it has to be expected on day one for a hungry fan. But what happens is that hungry fan is going to watch it, and then they're going to be excited. That character won't be available on day one, and then they're going to be bored after week 2, 3, and 4. They're going to stop thinking about it. I finally got to really experience that myself with BotBots, in the sense that when BotBots, the TV series, came out, now granted, BotBots as a toy line was out for a couple of years now with no media to support it, unfortunately. But BotBots, the show, came out. Everyone got excited about it. It was fun. We watched it. And literally a week after BotBots as a Netflix series had come out, everyone stopped talking about it, which is so crazy, because if they would have just pieced it out slowly, week by week, it could have been an ongoing conversation. It's like the old saying used to be, and this shows how much of an old man I am, but the water cooler shows, as they used to be called, where people would watch a show and then they'd meet around the water cooler and talk about it every week. The second you lose that water cooler kind of situation, where every week you could open up a new discussion about a new TV series or a new this of the new episode, now you lose the audience. You'll get them that first week, but you gave them everything that first week. And now you're no longer the new fresh hotness because you gave them all 13 episodes that first week, and now people have moved on because, unfortunately, in the streaming world, it's not about, wow, that was great. It's always, all right, what's next? And that's the problem, is that it doesn't resonate with people. People don't, they don't think. I remember a friend of mine who had never watched Godzilla movies. He watched all the Godzilla movies all in one shot. And then when I talked with him about it, he couldn't remember what he watched because he watched like 7 movies in one shot. And it all just kind of gelled together. And that's the same problem. If you watch one movie and then you could go to someone and talk about it, it's fresh in your brain. But if you put too much content in your brain, it doesn't stay with you. And it's just, well, what's next then? And that's the crazy world we live in with streaming now, is that we have the ease now of being able to watch content at our leisure. But the flip side of it, unfortunately, is they're giving us that content in such a large portion that we're not able to consume it properly and truly digest it and enjoy it. We're eating it, but we're eating it and spitting it out just as quickly and not digesting and getting the nutrients we want from it, which is with anything that's fiction or any kind of storytelling, we want to get something out of it, something that stays with us, something that's nutritious for us on both the mind and the spirit. But if you're just kind of eating it like junk food and it's just passing through, it's not going to be good for nobody. So that's kind of like what's going on here. But again, it's really just stuff that's going to be related to the Bumblebee, the Bumblebee movie line, not the Studio Series one, but there's going to be doing like a Rise of the Beast kind of Bumblebee movie line kind of line, which is going to be more gimmick based. So that's going to probably get affected. What's currently, right now with Earthspark is probably going to be also done in piecemeals and stuff like that. Maybe even the buzzworthy Bumblebee stuff might get affected, because we kind of see a little bit of what they're talking about. They already took that Rise of the Beast Optimus Prime toy, that Smash Changer one, and just put it in buzzworthy Bumblebee packaging and put it out there. And then the Energon Igniters, those two, which are 2 Rise of the Beast labeled products, are already on buzzworthy packaging and putting it out there. So I think there's going to be some kind of weird thing going on. And it's not going to affect our hardcore collector stuff, but if there is stuff that you enjoy that's of the more younger demo and the fictional-based stuff, like the TV series is, and some of the younger demo movie-based stuff, that's where it's going to get affected. So that's unfortunate, but it looks like that's the reality. So let me know what you think, guys. It's kind of a new shift. It could be a good thing in the sense that less product gives people more time to breathe and enjoy what we do have. But at the same time, it also kind of takes away from us the opportunity to get some characters that normally would have not gotten toys, because there's less slots and less of a distribution time. Let me know what you think. Very interesting stuff otherwise. Hopefully we get more information about this in the near